To all who are joining us in the audience or on Zoom or on YouTube later. We'll go ahead and start with our land acknowledgement. Dr. Sweeten.
We honor the first peoples of these lands by acknowledging that the area in which we gather is within the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians. The Stillaguamish people have inhabited these lands and waters since time immemorial, and their ancestors have remained in this territory to this day. The Stillaguamish people have continued to practice the traditional ways of their ancestors of fishing, hunting, and gathering. The Stillaguamish tribe has had these lands and cultural traditions passed on to them by their ancestors who believed that everything has a spirit and that they are the caretakers of these lands and waters.
Thank you, Dr. Sweeting. Next, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have our roll call attendant, Madam Clerk.
Director Ray. Director Kelly.
Here.
Director Kingman.
Here.
President Levesque.
Here.
Director Knapp.
Here.
Student Advisor Levon. Here. Student Advisor Nichols.
Here.
Superintendent Sweeting.
Here. Thank you. Next, we'll have our approval of our regular meeting agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to amend on the agenda, or do we have a motion to approve it as presented?
I move that we approve the regular meeting agenda as presented.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the regular meeting agenda. Madam Clerk.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Knapp.
Aye. All right, the first thing on our meeting agenda is our board organization. We've got our swearing in of our new board members, and we'll have Dr. Sweeting start that process. And I'm going to come down here.
So we recently had an election at the beginning of November where we had 3 board members voted in by our community, and 2 are returning and 1 is brand new. So tonight, each one of them is going to be sworn in. And so I'm going to invite Mary Levesque to come first. And Mary, you have guests with you today.
I want to recognize my husband and my parents here and all their support.
All right, so will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Mary Levesque, do solemnly swear that I will support
I, Mary Levesque, do solemnly swear that I will support
the constitutions of the laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington.
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of
That I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of
the office of Arlington School District 16 Director, District 4. The office
of Arlington School District number 16, Director, District 4,
for a 4-year term according to law to the best of my ability.
for a 4-year term according to law to the best of my ability.
All right, and now I'd like to call down Sherry Kelly.
Oh, then I was attending it with a long time.
All right, Sherry, do you have anybody that want to recognize?
My husband and family.
Okay, all right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sherry Kelly, do solemnly swear that I will support
I, Sherry Kelly, do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of
Arlington School District Number 16, Director, District 2,
Arlington School District Number 16, Director, District 2,
for a four-year term according to law to the best of my ability.
for a four-year term according to the law to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite our brand new board member up, Matt Diamond. And Matt, I know you have a guest.
I do. My friend Keegan is here today.
Thank you. Yes, so we use, here, you use this one that has your name, and then I'll put your name in this one. Raise your right hand. I, Matt Diamond, do solemnly swear that I will support
I, Matt Diamond, do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of
the office of Arlington School District Number 16, Director, District 1,
the office of Arlington School District Number 16, Director, District 1,
for a four-year term according to the law, to the best of my ability.
for a four-year term according to the law to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right, and now you may join us up front. Would you like a picture?
Could we take a group picture? Would that be all right?
Yes.
Before you sit down and get comfy?
Sure.
Okay, so
Can we do that? Like
All the
all the board members, we're all in the same room.
Okay.
You mind? Little personal privilege.
Works, yes.
And the student advisor.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like a everybody.
Everybody.
You're part of this too?
I'm part of it too, I
Can we
guess.
stand in front
Part of the owl.
In front of the owl.
Watch that owl.
Yeah.
That's all people in the back.
Yeah, I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
Mike guess.
Anywhere's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, you're good right there.
sounds good.
Go this way to cover the owl. It's right.
What owl?
Yeah. First, get a little bit more. There you go. Perfect. Mary,
Okay.
slightly that way. There you go. Not first, go on. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Okay, Nathan, move over slightly, and Erica, right in front slightly, and can't your body, other way. There you go. Stand over just a little bit.
Perfection.
Everybody smile.
Good. Okay, perfect. There you go.
Composition.
Nice big smile. Better, okay. Nice big smile, no blinking, everybody's happy, hold it, no blinking. Okay, one more for insurance, look right here, nice big smile, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for indulging me.
My eyes are.
Dry eyes.
These are crazy.
Yeah. Thank you for indulging me. Okay, the next part of the meeting is also part of our board organization, and we do this every year in December, the first meeting. And it's the election of our board officers. And so I have a little script I'm going to read for our election. The first officer that we elect is the board president. And I'd like to open the nominations for the position of board president.
I'd like to move that we nominate Mary LaBeouf as president of the school board for the upcoming term.
A second.
And then I get to repeat this a couple more times. Is there any additional nominations for the office of president? And then I have to ask one more time, because it's required. Is there any additional nominations for the office of president? Okay, then we'll close nominations and we will ask for a roll call vote, Madam Clerk. The one nominee is me, so
Director Diamond.
Yes.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Okay, the president is me, Mary Levesque. Awkward, and we'll serve a one-year term. And the next officer that we are going to elect is our vice president. Do we have a nomination for vice president?
I nominate Erica, to be our vice president.
I'll second that.
Is there any additional nominations for the office of VP? And one last time, is there any additional nominations for the office of VP? Hearing no more nominations, we will close the nominations for vice president and ask for a roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond.
Yes.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Erica Knapp has been elected as vice president and will serve a one-year term. And next, we will be electing our legislative representative. Do we have a nomination for legislative representative?
I'll nominate Sherry Kelly.
I'll second that.
Sherry Kelly has been nominated for the office of legislative representative. Do we have any additional nominations? And one third last time, do we have any additional nominations for legislative representative? Hearing no more nominations, we will close nominations and ask for a roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond.
Yes.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye. Sherry Kelly has been elected as our legislative representative and will serve a one-year term. So everybody get comfortable with where we're at, because we're still there. So the next part of our meeting is very wonderful and exciting, and our special guests that have joined us for this board organization part, you don't have to stay, but you're welcome to stay. The next part of our meeting. He's gonna go get dinner for the kids, so it's all good. The next part of our meeting is the very special student presentation by our Stillaguamish Valley Learning Center. We'd like to welcome Carrie Marsh, our principal, Rachel Manza, a teacher, and Kalia Jefferson, an 8th grade student. Welcome. We're so glad to hear from you tonight.
Thank you. We're so glad to be here. Congratulations, Matt, and welcome.
Thank you.
What an exciting start. Gosh. Hope we can live up to it. Well, I'm Carrie Marsh. I'm the principal at SVLC, Stillaguamish Valley Learning Center. And SVLC is the home of all the ALE programs in the district. Today, we're talking about monthly progress, which is something unique to SVLC. ALE stands for Alternative Learning Experience. With that different set of funding and laws comes some different requirements. And so we've got some experts here. They're going to show you what we're doing and how we do it. This year at SVLC, we have an overarching theme of care to learn. Our primary goal is always student learning, but we know that for kids to learn, they need to feel safe and a part of our community. So in that spirit, we looked at our requirement of monthly progress and thought of, we were thinking about ways we can make kids feel more involved and more accepted. Not going to shock you, but we don't have many kids who want to come and talk to you about monthly progress because it is a very personal thing. But our teachers are awesome at it and our kids are great at it. And so we have a student leader here to share with you. So monthly progress is required. That's a state requirement. We're required to document progress for each course and for each student that has a learning plan. And we're required to communicate it. And that's required for every ALE student, whether they have one class or many. You do the next slide, please. When we're talking about documenting progress, we have 4 standards. We talk about these 4 standards of progress at the initial meeting. We talk about it daily, monthly, and on their way out. We're talking about these 4 standards of progress. So for a student to be satisfactory, we need them to come to school. So attendance is the first one. Once they come to school, we'd like them to engage positively in our learning environment. The third one is home learning. 40% of our students' learning is at home. The learning is designed and given by the teachers, but it's done at home, so that's a very important part of our monthly progress and a lot of what the monthly progress conversation is. And then finally, assessment, which isn't necessarily A, B, C, D, F. Assessment is looking at the evidence. Kalia's got great evidence in her portfolio that she's going to show you. Looking at evidence so that we can see that the students are learning what we intend. So that's the background, and I want to introduce to you Rachel Manza. She is our middle school math teacher, so she teaches 6th, 7th, and 8th. I refer to her as a math wizard. I don't know how she does it, but she makes middle school students love math. I have a student, one of my daughters went through her math class, coming in hating it, and now professes to want to be a middle school math teacher. So she's pretty amazing. And then also Kalia, who has been at Stilley for 3 years with us. She is a top-notch student leader and brave. So that's how she made it here with us. So go ahead, Amanda.
Thank you. So our goals of monthly progress is to document and communicate the progress to students and parents each month. When we meet monthly, we are creating a team, teacher, parent, student, to provide the best support for the student. When we do this, students learn to be accountable and to advocate for themselves. Go to the next slide, please. So the teacher and consultant responsibilities, we kind of have 2 roles. I'm the middle school math teacher, so each month I would the progress that each student made in math from the beginning of the month to the end of the month and determine that progress for that specific class. As the 8th grade consultant, I would look at all of the classes for each 8th grade student, determine the progress overall, looking at other teachers' notes and what they had for their progress. I would then schedule meetings with the student and parents. When we do a progress determination, we're looking at satisfactory, meaning the student's doing well and they're learning, or unsatisfactory, meaning that there's something where there's an area of concern, and we meet as a team and provide intervention supports for that student moving forward for that school year. Leah, this is a snapshot of the program we use, school data, of what progress would look like. There's just a kind of snapshot of a couple of those classes. Each teacher leaves comments about their 4 standards of progress. Student responsibilities, they create their student portfolio and they are responsible for updating it using the progress determination from their teachers and archiving assignments. So I'm going to turn it over to Kalia and she can talk about her student portfolio.
Hey. Hi. Hi. So student portfolio, technically every month at the end of the month, we get together in Stilley time, which is right after lunch. And we document our status for that month. So I got satisfactory for October, September, December, yeah, so on. And we go into homeroom, which is like an up on our tablets, and we put satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and how we did during the month. The student portfolio, we're supposed to put for math, what we did in math class, what we liked about it, what we learned, what we think we could learn more of. And science, the same thing, humanities, the same thing, and then satisfactory at the bottom of the page. I wrote a short paragraph of what we learned in humanities. We learned about the Revolutionary War and the Boston Tea Party and the Boston Massacre, which was pretty sad. It's pretty traumatizing, actually. I thought with the Boston Massacre, that was like, why? Just over tea? It's kind of odd. But you know, that's what we learned. With math, we were learning about slopes and graphing and kind of like all the basic math stuff. With science, we're learning about elements. And yeah, just elements. that's really it. With progress meetings, I think they're super cool because at the end of the month, you get to sit down with your teacher and your parent. And your teacher lets you speak about how you feel about how the month went, how you think that it could have went better, and what we can plan for the future. So let's say I didn't get satisfactory, I could have said, well, oh, well, I could have done home learning and got it done on time, or I could have worked better on my assignments or engaged more, or been at school because I wasn't at school, things like that. And we kind of talk about what in the future we can do to plan to make sure that I'm satisfactory for the next month and hopefully for the year going. So yeah, that's pretty it.
Go to the next one. Cool. Questions? I just was remembering my kiddos went to Stilley for a couple of years and I wasn't remembering that there were monthly like progress reports. Maybe there were, I'm guessing that's been a part of it for some time. Kind of a blur. I really appreciate though, thinking at it now as a teacher myself and how we do. So there's 3 trimesters and you have these 3 or 3.5 months before you do a first report card. And to me, what always concerned me was there's so much time where students can get themselves into a hole, more so at your age than, you know, than what I'm teaching is kindergarten, that's not a problem. But at the other grades, you really can start to spiral. And if you don't catch it, it just feels overwhelming, I would imagine, to recoup that. How does that make you feel, Kalia, for feeling like you're part of the process and accountability for your learning?
It makes me feel responsible and it gives me some sort of like, and like assurance, because with other middle schools such as Howler and Post, you don't usually sit down with your teacher every month unless you're in trouble. And you don't talk about how these things make you feel, how you think you could do better. And with SVLC, it's very helpful with kids that have problems at school, especially in middle school. And it gives me kind of more of a reassurance and responsibility knowing that, okay, well, I on my behalf, I have to make sure that I'm getting all my work done, my grades are good, I'm engaging, I'm responsible at school, I'm working as hard as I can, I'm doing good at tests. And my teachers they have to grade it and they have to make sure they're grading it correctly. And I don't know, all the teacher things that you guys do, I'm not fully sure. But it's nice because at the end of the month, you get to sit down and you're like, okay, I can tell them how I feel about how this month went, and they can tell me how they felt. And that's just so much better than middle school.
I think you're building relationships, and I think Judy would agree as well with Judy Fay, always like that demonstration teaching. So you're giving evidence of what you have learned, and the fact that you've articulated it that's huge because you're teaching the teacher, right? You're demonstrating that learning, and the fact that it's in real time. I like that too, that it's not a matter of months that have gone by, but it's still fresh. It's in a month, and then you're going to move on to the next thing. So I'm glad to hear you're having a very positive experience.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions to our student advisors? Want to ask anything? I'm curious about it.
Just, the question that was remaining, is there any immediate problems that you see with the system? Anything that not necessarily, but maybe a student might have an issue? If you could think of anything at all.
The only problem that sometimes we can run into at the school is that if you don't go into homeroom or your student portfolio at the end of the month and you don't document, okay, I was satisfactory this month, it can be challenging, because so there's a 3-month period between it's just 3 months. And since I was satisfactory for September all the way to now, I get to stay in the school. Sometimes other students won't be satisfactory for 2 months straight, sometimes 3. And that would mean that they would have to be removed and moved to another school. So when it comes to the student portfolio, it's nice to document what I learned, what we talked about in class. And if I was satisfactory, because in high school, I can look back and be like, okay, well, I learned about the Boston Tea Party in November, or I can look back in September and be like, okay, we learned about elements, or we learned about whatever, sorry, it was a long time ago. We learned about what we learned about. So I think it's nice just for high school, so we know when we go into high school, we learn more about these things, because I know we will. We already have it documented, we know what we're talking about, we have our facts straight, and it's good. So that's really the only problem. That's it.
Do you feel like, I like the monthly meetings because then you get to really connect with your teacher. And so I feel like, just from my perspective as an SVLC parent, now has a freshman, so he's freshly graduated from SVLC, that it was also an opportunity for the teachers to give you positive affirmations. So even when there is challenges, it's not solely focused on that. So do you find that also that's encouraging for you to keep going, having that?
Yeah, it's so much better, because I actually went to post in the beginning of 6th grade, and I moved February, January. 6th grade. I moved towards the end of the year, and with post, we didn't have the same connections that we do at SVLC, because it is kind of more of a smaller school. The community is so much better, and the teachers are so much better at getting back to, per se, my mom's emails. If we have any questions or comments or concerns or anything like that, we always email, and they always make sure to answer at least within that day. With connections, I have a very strong connection with this one. And we'll be joking in class, and we'll do homework, we'll joke, which I think is pretty cool, because I had a connection in post, but it wasn't as deep, and it wasn't as good as the connection that I have with Miss Manza and Miss Marsh. Which I think is super cool, because at normal little schools, you get that, but you don't get it like you do at SVLC. And like with my mom, she always is saying how much she likes the school, because if there's a problem there, if I have a problem, teachers are worried about something, it's very good communication, so honestly, I think it is very encouraging and very, very helpful.
I have a question. Excuse me. When you do your home learning, do you find that you need more homework, or is it at the right level? How do you know that what you're getting is the right level of learning for you? Do you ever check in with your teacher to say, this is way too hard, or this is way too easy?
Yeah, so for home learning, I usually start on Fridays, because they actually just got Monday classes, which I love. On Fridays, it's very nice to sit down and do your work. If you have any questions, you can always email the teachers, and they usually always get back to you within 2 hours. And if you do have an issue, like with me, my perspective, if I do have an issue with home learning, I do have the whole weekend. So home learning is on Fridays, and it goes all the way, we have to turn it in on Tuesdays. So I do have the whole weekend to do that. And if I still have any questions because of Monday classes, I can always go in and say, hey, I need help with this. I don't really understand it. Personally, my home learning experience has been very good. Last year it was okay, but this year it's super good, because I'm understanding and I'm engaging more in school and just learning better. So I never really do have a problem with it. I'm really good with making sure that there's no missing assignments, and if there is, then I still do have the whole weekend to finish them, which I think is helpful. So you get those days that you can be like, okay, today we can do the work that's assigned, and then the next day we could do missing work, or the next day we could work on something that we're working on in class that isn't due yet. Oh, sorry, due yet. But yeah, I think it's great.
Any further questions? Can I just say what a tremendous public speaker you are?
Yes.
Thank you. Excellent job. Thank you very much for sharing. I learned a lot.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. So the next portion of our agenda, and you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to. The next portion of our agenda is our approval of our minutes, our study session and regular meeting minutes from November 27th. Do we have a motion to approve our study session and regular meeting minutes from November 27th?
Make a motion, we approve the study session and regular meeting minutes from November 27th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the study session and regular meeting minutes from November 27th. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque. Aye. Director Knapp.
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes are approved. Next, we'll have our public comment portion. Do we have anyone that signed up?
We do not.
And is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak tonight? This is your opportunity. Big crowd.
Oh, come on, you know you have a question. You gotta give them the eye.
Hearing no request for a public comment, we will skip that portion and we will move to our consent agenda. The consent agenda is our personnel report, payroll report, warrants, and overnight out of country field trip request for the high school marching band to BC, an FFA CTE grant for greenhouse electrical and lighting, and our school and district improvement plan, and our annual review of district comprehensive safe school plan, and our Snow Isle Everett Community College Consortium memorandum of agreement. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from the consent agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman,
Aye.
President Levesque. Aye. Director Knapp.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we'll have our new business portion of our meeting. The first item is our report of donations that are approved by our superintendent for December. Actually,
So last month, we approved the donation from the SBLC Parent Club for the Gaga Ball Pit. Now they have more money that's coming forward as donation for materials. There's 1,970 that came forward to be approved for materials for the Gaga Pit. And then there's $343.52 for 5 mats for the Gaga Pit. So I approved that during this last month.
Nice.
very good. Thank you for sharing. And how wonderful that there's a Gaga Pit at SBLC. Next is our workforce secondary traumatic stress report. We'd like to welcome, good evening, Dave McKellar, our Director of Special Education.
Good evening, welcome to our record. This is our annual report, activity report for our workforce secondary traumatic stress efforts. Substitute House Bill, I'll find it here, 1363 back in the 21-22 school year, addressed the fact that secondary workforce trauma has an impact on students. And so besides the adults themselves who are in the system. And so they adopted some guidelines and some processes for us to follow and then report out on an annual basis that have to do with what we as a system are doing to address that. And so there's a checklist here that we go through. And so we promote positive workplace climates with a focus on diversity and inclusion that at a minimum incorporates various elements, and we adopted that policy on 12/31/21. And since then, we've been moving forward. Our district has established a district-wide workforce for a mental health committee. We try to meet twice a year, and so we met the last time was on February 10th of 23. Our workforce mental health committee has shared secondary traumatic stress resources and stress management resources and other mental health resources to all staff. And that's ongoing. We have it posted on our district webpage. The district nurses have emails that go out. And also our mental health committee has shared links to a secondary traumatic stress self-assessment tool. And if you recall, we published, I was gonna say Jamboard, it'll come to me. I'm forgetting what's that?
Padlet.
Thank you. Help me with the big word.
That was a test. We just passed it.
And so,
Yeah.
and so that just has multiple resources on it. What we still haven't really been able to with that is to ascertain like how frequently it is used. And I have some updates on our survey we took last year about having mental health and stress reducing things happening in the workplace. Our district provides appropriate resources and trainings. Actually, I should step that back. We provide all these resources. We're still scratching our heads on what the training would look like and what that would do to help people. What I think we're discovering, and I think we shared this the last time, is in all the workplaces, buildings and staff lounges and whatnot. We have these posters up, and this will take you to the Padlet if you use this QR code. What we think is probably an educated guess is that many people who are under distress aren't noticing this and then taking a picture of it. And so oftentimes it's the people around them that hopefully are supporting that. So how active people are when you're under duress and under stress, you don't think straight necessarily all the time, and you're not sure what your resources are. You may not even want to admit it. And so we're hoping that to a secondary level of friends and coworkers around you might notice that and be able to do that. So we're kind of focusing on that a little bit and how we can enhance that. And then our district regularly assesses at the school level or implementation of this policy and input. And so we did last year this Google survey. We had 290 respondents last year. We put this out last week and we've already had 224 responses. So hopefully we'll keep sending out reminders for weeks at a time. The first one was just weeks in education. I'm sorry you didn't get a copy of this. I will make sure to get that to Dr. Sweeting and she can pass that along. I find satisfaction in the work I do. Last year it was 70.1% said mostly always. Actually, 17.9% said always. They find satisfaction in the work they do. And then 70.1% said most always. This year it was 17.6% said always. So 0.3%. So that's negligible, right? So that didn't change on the always, and from 70.1 to 69%. So within the margin of error, we have a pretty happy workforce. Sometimes was 12.1 last year, 13.1 this year. I create good work-life versus personal life balance for myself. Last year always was 17.9, this year 20.7. So we've seen an uptick in that. Most of the time, finding that personal work-life balance, 56.7 last year, 54.8 this year. Last year, we had 2 people said never, that they just didn't have a work-life, personal life and work-life balance. We're up to 9 this year, 9 people. And so we want to know who those 9 are. Address yourselves now. I have workplace friendships that are meaningful to me. We thought this was a great question last year. 93.3% last year said they had a meaningful workplace relationship or friendship. This year, 95.9, so we're up to 96. So we're seeing an increase there. I access healthy outlets for my stress, eating well, exercise, adequate sleep. Last year for always was 13.8. This year, 13.8. Oh, interesting. Wow. Mostly always, last year was 50%. We ticked up to 50.7% this year. Sometimes went from 33.9 to 32.8. So pretty much across the board, our numbers are staying the same. I know where to get help for my stress when I need to. Yes, it was just a yes, no. 90.2% last year, 84.8% this year. So a dip there, which was the increase on the no from 9.8 to 15.2. I know what district resources there are to support. So here again, this is where it relates back to this. This was created after the first or initial time that we did this survey. I know what district resources there are to support my mental health if needed. Yes was 42.4% last year. It dropped to 37.2, even after we created the posters and put out some emails and different things. So that's we've got some work to do there. On the no, 57.6 last year, 62.8 this year. or reverse that, 62.8 last year, sorry, 57.6. And lastly, I know where to locate our district health related resources. The yes last year was 41.4, we're up to 49.6 this year. So we're seeing an increase in terms of that. So it's a brief survey. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it just gives us a snapshot into what we're doing. So we're gearing up. We'll at least have the meeting, another meeting by February of this next calendar year. And that happens this school year. Yes.
Dave, I was just wondering, I'm wondering if it would be somewhat more effective, at least on the teacher side. I forget what it's not, but whatever teachers are called in the scheme of organizations. I know, so on Fridays we have, certain Fridays we have, is it PLC, so your professional learning community. I'm wondering if you're with your kind, if you might be more willing to put out there, if there is a stress, if there's something in your classroom, if there's something outside the school, you know, that might be a collection of people that you'd be more willing to share that with. And to me, if you were to have a survey like that, that went out to those teams, you might get, again, keeping it anonymous, but I think that would be somewhat effective myself, because I personally feel that we're so inundated with emails and reminders and these things for parents and children and you as employees, like just all those plate spinning. I think you might get maybe something more meaty that you could actually, not that that isn't
No,
quantifiable,
there's
but
always more to do. Yeah.
right. I don't know. I just feel like like I said, the fact that people are having posters around and people aren't necessarily accessing it. If you're in that moment, if you're in that place of stress, you're not seeing it. But if you're able to share with your team, you know, like I said, they can kind of buoy you and offer you like, hey, have you tried this or, you know, things in your school community.
Years ago, for me, 25 years ago, I was a paraeducator in the Burlington Edison School District. And they had somehow tapped me on the shoulder to join what was called a program called Natural Helpers. And it was run through the county. And the basic premise of the program was, who do kids turn to in times of struggle and stress? And I was at Burlington Edison High School at the time. And the research said they turn to their friends. They don't come to counselors as often. They don't come to other adults. They turn to their friends. And so the premise of the program was, let's train the friends.
Yep.
So they had kids throughout the whole building nominated, the whole school nominated as who would you turn to?
Oh.
And the people who came out on top. And it wasn't always ASB president. A lot of times it was kids that might spend other times in the office that for other things. And yet, so they were invited to be a part of this team and went for a 2-day training. At the time, we were doing it out at Warm Beach. And it was pretty amazing because it was, again, recognizing we have stress, we turn it out, we do something with it.
Mhm.
And oftentimes it's not to the people we think it should be to or could be to. So we gave them some resources, some tools, some ways to think about helping their friends. And so that kind of came up in this discussion of how could we, again, it's a secondary thing, I think, where you would get a lot of your support and help from the friends that you have at work, right? It's a
Yep.
very meaningful statistic, so. Yes,
I had a thought, just a suggestion. You know how after a while, the same posters on the same walls kind of just turn into the background?
we've talked about that, move them
Have you
around.
considered rebranding,
Yeah.
like big bright
color.
new colors or?
I think Gary has a budget for that, so we're gonna be working on this.
High school
His poster budget, thank you for giving us that approval.
High school art project, yeah, I
High school art
understand.
students, high school art students. It gets the matters.
You know, and putting it back into the classroom, now this particular is for the adults in the system, right? Because everything rolls downhill, so to speak. And so this is giving our staff, but even so to, you know, with like the Padlet and the different access to information we have out there, there are some pads in there that are related specifically to helping students out in their, you know, for whatever needs they may have. But if we can find ways to get it, alternated ways, have principals bring it up in their newsletters. Gary does a good job of putting it on the website and other areas. And it's just talking about it. And we just sent out with this last survey, Krista found some videos about holiday stress. And it's just some very short 2-minute, 5-minute. There's even, I believe she had a TED talk in one of them, but we were looking at one anyway. I don't know if that one went out. But just thinking about the holidays and stress and how do you navigate that and manage that. So we just keep thinking of different ways to push it out. When you're not stressful, you just don't read those emails and then stress overcomes you at times and you're like, I think someone sent an email, but I don't have time for that right now. I'm too stressed out.
I have a question. Did you mention how many people were on the committee or what? I see that
Yeah,
there's
well,
one that says one teacher and classified from K-8 level. So I'm wondering if it's only elementary, are they getting a full picture of middle? If it's only middle?
Yeah, it pretty much, the bill just outlines who has to be there, and so we try to capture just everybody at every level in the
Okay.
system. I couldn't tell you all the names right now, but
Okay, about how many are on?
I think the last time we met, there was 12
Okay,
people on there.
Okay.
The first time we did it, we met with nurses and counselors, and then, but then that was before we realized how broad they wanted the people on the committee to be in terms of
Okay.
their experience, and so we formed more into that, so,
Thank you.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have our second reading and adoption of board policy 2121, substance abuse program. We would like to introduce Carrie Helgeson on Zoom, our Director of Equity and Student Wellbeing. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, how are you?
Well, how are you?
So I was here at the last board meeting with the first reading on the policy 2121 with substance abuse program. There was just the addition there in red, and there were not any questions that were asked for this policy. So
So this is a second reading,
this is
so,
the second reading, yeah.
yeah, so this is the action item, so is there a motion to approve the board policy 2121 substance abuse?
I move that we approve board policy 2121 substance abuse program.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve board policy 2121 substance abuse program. Madam Clerk?
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Novak,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
And next up, Carrie, don't go far. Our second reading and adoption of board policy 3207, prohibition of harassment, intimidation, and bullying of students.
Yeah, so I was here on November 27th for this first reading. There was one question that Erica asked about, does this involve just students or adults? And so I dug a little bit deep into our existing policies, and this one here, the 3207, is just for student to student. So when we have harassment, intimidation, and bullying between two students or more than two students, the policy that includes adults in our system is actually 3210. So.
Thank you. Are there any suggested changes, or do we have a motion to approve board policy 3207, prohibition of harassment?
I move that we approve board policy 3207, the prohibition of harassment, intimidation, and bullying of students.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 3207, prohibition of harassment, intimidation, and bullying of students. Madam.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Novak,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye. Next up. Carrie,
I'm not
still
going
with us?
anywhere. I'm still with you.
That's our second reading and adoption of board policy 3241, student discipline.
Yeah, so the only change in this one was the wording from emergency expulsion to emergency removal. And there were not any questions asked by the board during the first reading.
Are there any suggested changes, or do we have a motion to approve policy 3241, student discipline?
I make a motion, we approve second reading and adoption of board policy 3241, student discipline.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 3241, student discipline. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Novak,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye. Thank you, Carrie, for presenting and being with us.
Now I'm going to leave you.
Okay. Next up, we have our second reading and adoption of board policy 2190, highly capable programs. And we'd like to welcome Carl Olson on Zoom. Hello, Carl.
Good evening, Carl Olson, Director of Categorical Programs, here for the second reading of Policy 2190. While there were no questions or initial changes to this policy right after the last board meeting, which was two board meetings ago, when we reviewed this, they had some recommendations that came regarding the timing, and this will be reflected within the procedure. They wanted to make sure that the second round of screening happened for grade levels, 6th grade or 5th grade, but before elementary. So while it's not in here, I did want people to know that our procedure and our current practice has us doing the second screening with 5th grade. We're already done, so we are in good shape. Otherwise, are there any questions?
Hearing no questions, this is another action item. Do you have any suggested changes? Or do we have a motion to approve board policy 2190, highly capable programs?
Make a motion, we approve policy 2190, highly capable programs.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 2190, highly capable programs. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda is our second reading and adoption of board policy 3231, student records. I believe Carrie Henderson Burke is on Zoom.
Yes. Thank you. So this policy, we went over a little bit, a minimal change, and that was just changing some of the dates. We can't withhold a diploma forever anymore. Essentially, we can hold a diploma for a period of time while kids work to pay off some of what they could potentially owe, but there's also a limitation on how long that can happen. So that paragraph that's deleted just provides clarity around that.
Are there any suggested changes? Do we have a motion to approve board policy 3231, student records?
I move that we approve board policy 3231, students' records.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve 3231, student records.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Next up, we have our second reading and adoption of board policy 5010, non-discrimination and affirmative action. And to present that tonight is our superintendent.
So Eric DeYoung presented this for the first reading. I'm bringing it for the second reading, and there were no additional questions. It's really focused on non-discrimination. It's much more precise in the wording, and it also focuses on affirmative action. So ask for board approval.
Are there any suggested changes? Or do we have a motion to approve board policy 5010, non-discrimination and affirmative action?
I make a motion, we approve the second reading and adoption of board policy 5010, non-discrimination and affirmative action.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to approve board policy 5010, non-discrimination and affirmative action. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda is policy 5310, compensation. Dr. Sweeting.
So this will end our final approval for second reading. It includes this, really cleans up this policy. So there's a deletion at the beginning, and then it just clarifies the different groups that we have, and that there's contracts and that they are paid according to their collective bargaining agreement. Much more precise and much easier to even understand.
Any suggested changes? Or do we have a motion to approve board policy 5310 compensation?
Make a motion, we approve board policy 5310 compensation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve board policy 5310 compensation. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye. And all of those policies are adopted. Thank you so much for your patience. That was 7. I think that was the record setting, 7 policies before 7. Okay.
Oh, yes.
7 for 7. Next up in our meeting is our informational items. We'll start with our superintendent report, Dr. Sweet.
So this Saturday, for the matinee, I went to the flight performance of Frosty, and we had Mariska and Nathan who performed, as well as several other of our amazing talented students. It was awesome. At the same time, there's a basketball game going on. We had girls and boys basketball, with sports going on, but so it was a busy place at Arlington High School on Saturday afternoon, but the performance was spectacular, and I loved every minute of it. And then tomorrow, we have school visits to post in SBLC, and Senator Mozal is going to join us. So that'll be good. It's in the morning. And then winter break is December 22nd through January 5th. So I wish everybody happy holidays and a new year. Yes.
Thank you. Next up, we have our legislative update and discussion. I know. Director
Fresh off the
Kelly has something.
envelope here. So I was sneaking away in the bathroom,
I know,
watching my
next time-
legend. I know, I was just wanting to do something different, so I just explored the basement for a change. Dr. Sweeting made her office available. It was just it was a great session. WASDA has a person named Mike Hoover. I believe he's employed with them. He has an attorney background, so he just really gets you to the nuts and bolts of, as a ledge rep, as ledge reps throughout the state, what we can do to be activists in working with our legislators, how to watch bills. Yeah, it was very meaty in its bullet point way, but just, it reminded me, he gave us a website, which I did write down, how we can track the bills. They're already submitting things now. I don't know, we called it a preliminary bill or something. So these are going in now. Again, it's a short session. It's a biennium, so we're on the 60-day cycle. Just following that rule of intro, committee rules, and floor. Basically, you want it to go through the appropriate channels. And if it's not, it's up to you to follow that. And you know, I don't feel alone in this. These are like-minded districts. We have our agenda via WASDA, and Marissa is wonderful about keeping us on the pulse of what's happening in Olympia. And I have done something last year where it was on my phone, and I would just submit something. I would submit where a particular bill was at, and like, you need to get on there now. You need to get in and give your weigh in on what your, yay or nay on a certain bill. So I find it kind of exciting. I know there's an intensity. I've not testified myself. I'd be curious what that looks like. If, I don't know, I mean, I would think our primary really is getting that super majority. I think many of us are feeling that. That would be something to have lined up out the door to testify how that would impact the school districts. And I also did send a quick email to Clyde Shavers this morning and just said, can you get me kind of in the loop of where we are with some things that are, he is the vice chair, my understanding, on the education committee. And that's another thing too, is being dialed into the legislators who are on committees that serve our purposes and finding out who those are. So I will keep you informed. So age 2024.
Thank you. Next up is our comments from board members. It's just an opportunity to share any thoughts, concerns, questions, ideas, happy, good, bad, anything.
Yes.
And so we'll like to start with our student advisors. Nathan, would you like to share? You've been busy this week.
I have been busy. I believe the last time I had been with you guys was for WASDA, which was about over a month ago. But, yes, we're busy mostly for the Christmas show. It's been like rehearsals every day, up to like 12, 13, 14-hour days at school, and then homework, repeat. So I'm glad it's over. But that being said, it was a wonderful experience. More than anything, I'm so glad that we were able to spread joy and some Christmas cheer to people who don't often get to see it sometimes. But other than that, I'm very excited for the upcoming new year. I'm not a big fan of new year, new me. I think it's just a silly idea for me personally, but I like to reflect and take a look about what I can do better as a person, and in what ways my relationships have been thriving, and in what ways I can better them. So yeah, I'm excited to be.
Thank you for sharing. Nicely said. Marcia, you also had a very busy couple weeks.
I got a list written down right here. Yeah. I can relate with Nathan with the whole 13-14 hour days. We go to school in the dark and we leave in the dark for those rehearsals. But you know, it was very fun. The Christmas show, it came together and it was a very fun one. I think this is the most fun Christmas show that I've had in all my years of flight. Like, it was just silly. And to hear all the children laughing in the audience with us, like laughing at the silly parts. And then I don't know how many other people got this privilege, but I know I had the wonderful privilege of getting to take pictures with some of said children that were like dancing around in the audience and laughing and giggling. And it was just such a heartwarming experience. And it really was a good way to no, I won't say end my senior year, but it was a good last show for my senior year, Christmas wise. In other news, Footloose rehearsals will be starting tomorrow.
gosh.
And I hear that there's a special person that got a lead role.
That is true. I have the lead role for Footloose. I will be playing Ariel for Footloose, and I am beyond excited. I could not contain how happy I was when that cast list went up, and just good things, a lot of good things are happening, and it's just been such a fun couple of weeks. Like, it's all been so fast paced, and this week has hit me hard. I took like 3 naps today. I think I've just been trying to make up for lost time of not sleeping. But just this whole month, like, it's been such a blur, but there are still good things coming. I know on Thursday, Flight will be going and we will be singing at the Cascade Valley Hospital. So that is something to look forward to. And also next week, we will be doing our school tours, and that is something to look forward to. More laughing children, hopefully. And yesterday I had the privilege of going to the Nativity Festival where Aerie sang a few of their Christmas songs. Bless you. And that was very nice to see. Like, the room was packed. It was the church across from the Walmart, and like barely any parking when I got there. People were standing while we were in the church listening to everybody, and just vibes were good. I felt very connected, and it was a very nice experience. I think that's all I have for now. Just had to unpack all of that.
A lot. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Of course.
Director Kelly, anything else you'd like to share?
Just, I really had a great time at watching your performance. It was fun. I love the variety was everything, and it really targeted a range of audience. The kids liked it. I liked the Beach Boys. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I think that's, and they're like, oh my God, your kudos to the music director. I mean, that is, and who is your director for choir?
Kendrick Weaver.
Kendrick, I have not met
We
Kendrick.
just call him Weaver.
We do call
Yeah,
him Weaver.
Just Weaver.
Weaver.
Yeah,
And
just Weaver.
I just was in awe of the level of creativity, the costume changes. Oh my goodness. I was like, what's worse gonna come out next? You had at least 4 or 5 of that I was counting,
Yep.
but it was really well choreographed, and the music was fun. I mean, you had a few of those little snippets of like more on the serious side of things, but all in all, it was just really wonderful. And my other teacher friends thought it was great. So congratulations. That was I guess probably the highlight of my weekend. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Director Kingman, would you like to share anything?
Director Diamond, welcome to the board. Thank you. Thank you. It'll be an interesting 4 years. I'm excited.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Director Knapp.
Sure. I mean, congratulations to the newly elected and re-elected board members. I appreciate all of you. And congratulations to the Flight choir. That sounds really exciting. And I also want to boost the band because they're having a concert this Thursday at 7.
Yeah.
So And if you aren't able to attend, they're trying to get 1,000 likes on YouTube so that they can stream live. But they will be streaming it a different way if they don't get subscribers. Yeah, thank you for
Like
correcting
and
me.
subscribe.
Sorry.
Like and subscribe.
It's like a technicality.
Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, you can't just like them. You have
But to subscribe to the,
Yeah.
is it under AHS band or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just band,
That
yeah.
would be great. I would think that'd be wonderful to be live. You could show it to me live.
Yeah,
She's out
exactly.
in
My granny in Missouri.
Wichita,
hopefully
you
will
know?
watch it.
That's great.
Yes, and just looking forward to posting SBLC tours tomorrow. And Mariska, you're going to. do
Yes,
this as
I
well?
will be there for those.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And then winter break.
Winter break.
Yes, I'm hoping we have some rain puddles available for this too, some other musical.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Some puddles.
Anything else? No, all right, well, thank you for sharing. Matt.
He's all like, whoa.
Thank you.
This is your time to just share any experiences or questions or, you know.
Very well, I know.
I'm just watching.
He's all like that. He got his eye in there and.
No, I'm just watching, seeing how things are run and trying to,
Jump onto a very fast moving,
yeah, a little bit, but that's okay.
very fun. Well, welcome aboard. We're
Thank you.
glad to have you. I just want to share that I also got to go to the flight Christmas show, and I brought my 16-year-old son, who's not real good at like audience stuff and like listening and holding still, and he had the best time ever. He was laughing and he was clapping along and catching candy as it was flying through the air.
That was amazing.
He loved it. So
Engagement.
thank you for all your hard work. It was appreciated. He had a great time and I just loved it too. So I'm also looking forward to the band concert. Proud of those kids and all the hard work and just so proud of all of our kids for working so hard. And there's just so much positive energy at all of our school buildings and I'm trying to get over a cold, so sorry. I just want to also remind everybody about our next board meeting. It's not until next year, Monday, January 8th. It's the same day the kids go back to school. And it's at 6 p.m. right here in the boardroom. And if there's nothing else, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Dave.
They're so much faster this time.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Kingman.
Aye.
President Novak.
Aye.
Director Nap.